Hello and welcome to how to deploy multimedia metadata on the semantic web. Today Bern and I are going to present you what RAMX is about and how to use it. Well, Bernard.
Okay. Then let's start with an overview. So the first thing is, of course, why are we doing that? And I will discuss what the motivation for that is and what the use cases are. And then Michael will tell us how we are going to do that. So the first thing is, when we're looking at the semantic web, RDF is kind of the standard language of the semantic web. And when we now have multimedia metadata, this is usually described in some other format. For example, MPEG-7, but this can be anything else. It can be format X. This is, by the way, why there is an X in RAMX. So the problem we have now is a semantic web agent capable of speaking RDF and some multimedia metadata application using some other format cannot talk to one another. So this is the main motivation for having RAMX, to make these two applications understand one another. You could of course say, well, why does the multimedia application not simply speak RDF? Well, it kind of does, but like there are good reasons for learning a foreign language, this does not mean that you are no longer using your own native language. So there are good reasons for having these specific multimedia metadata formats, but in addition have something that allows these applications to communicate with a semantic web agent. So the problem we are looking at is kind of a last mile problem that you have in a number of different domains. So basically there is always some broadband high capacity infrastructure that just connects some main points, and at some point you have to narrow that down and in the end reach every single entity that has to be connected to that infrastructure. So a typical example is the road infrastructure. You have motorways and some high-level road system, but in the end you need some road or some lane that reaches every single house. So comparing with other domains, an example is often communication infrastructure, where you have broadband infrastructure with high capacity, but it's useless unless you can really connect every single user to that infrastructure. So this means you have to connect every single home. A similar problem is retailing goods. It's quite easy to ship a large amount of goods from one part of the world to another, but it's quite an effort to doing the really retailing to get all the goods really to the person who needs it. And in our case, it's delivering multimedia metadata. It's quite easy representing it in a central point, but we need to get it to that application that will use it. In that case, that's a semantic web agent. So this is kind of the big picture of that application. We start with some multimedia metadata and the media asset that is described by it, and it will be deployed on the web in an HTML document. There is a lot of other things on the semantic web that are also deployed in HTML documents, or at least linked from there. And now with the users, both human users and software agents. For the human user it's quite simple. As long as it's somehow readable in textual form on the web page, the user will be able to use it. For the software agent, it's more difficult, because the semantic web software agent will understand the semantic web representations, but it will not understand the multimedia metadata formats. So there is a lot of those metadata formats around. Like MPEG-7, there is things embedded in media like EXIF and IB3, and they are all for different purposes. They have different capabilities, and they are quite well designed for their purpose. On the other hand, we have RDF as a common and very generic data model on the semantic web. And the question is, how can we bridge that so that a semantic web agent is able to use multimedia metadata deployed on the web?